Good morning everybody, I am Sarah with the trains, and today you find me here at Halifax heading off on another railway adventure. It's going to be another one of my videos comparing some of Jeff Jones' photographs to new ones that I'm going to be taking. Now there is a bit of an issue in that there's some signalling problems on the Calderdale line, so trains keep getting cancelled and I don't actually know when I'm going to be heading off, but the first station of the day, when we're able to leave Halifax, is going to be Todmorden. At least we've still got a view of the Quality Street factory. So after Northern having to pull a fair few Northerns, i.e. cancelling trains, because of the signalling issues, it's about 35 minutes after the time of the train I was supposed to get, but hopefully the next train will take me to Todmorden. So there is a delayed train heading to Blackpool North, but it's just sitting at the station. Unfortunately, this isn't a train I can get to Todmorden. I'm really not sure what's going on with this, because this was supposed to have left by now in spite of also being delayed. I have no idea what's going on. Also, that calf that you might just be able to see behind those trees has been sat there for about an hour. No idea what's happening with that either. I see folks in orange high-vis, so I'm wondering if it's maybe broken down. I don't know. So that calf has now headed off to Blackpool North. Shall we see if the next one can get us to Todmorden? Admittedly, I'm not sure if it's a cav or a sprinter that's going to be coming in, but we'll see. So I've been at the station for about 2 hours now, and I think if I hear the words delayed due to a fault with the signalling system one more time, I may scream. And it's coming. There's an announcement on, and that's coming. I am determined I'm going to get to Todmorden though. We finally made it to Todmorden. So the station here at Todmorden opened in March of 1841 on the Manchester and Leeds railway line between Manchester and Normanton. The line from here onwards went through Summit Tunnel, which I've mentioned before, and at the time Summit Tunnel was the longest railway tunnel in the world. So I waited for over 2 hours at Halifax to get here, and 2 trains have come through in about 10 minutes. So that's suitably frustrating. Glad the railways might be getting back to a bit more normality, but frustrating nonetheless. Anyway, the opening of Summit Tunnel meant that services could continue from here through to Littleborough and Manchester. In 1849, Todmorden became a junction station when a line through Cliviger Gorge to Burnley opened up. This was later extended to meet up with the East Lancashire Railway near to Rose Grove. Quick break to film a passing train there. Linking up with the East Lancashire Railway meant that there was now a direct route to Blackburn, Preston and Blackpool. There was a bay platform at this station for such services, but services to Preston and Rose Grove were sadly removed under the Beeching Acts in 1965. The Beeching Acts of the 60s also saw services at the station cut back. There had been express services between Liverpool and York, but services here were cut back to a basic local service between Manchester and Leeds. In May of 2015, services from Manchester to Blackburn via Burnley did start using the station, however, and this is to do with a triangular junction near the station. Now, I'm going to hand over to Narration Sarah to explain this whole thing with the triangular junction, because it's quite complicated. Well, it's complicated to me anyway. So the triangular junction is formed by the lines to Manchester, Burnley and Halifax, with Todmorden station being on the Manchester line. However, the short curve linking the lines to Manchester and Burnley was removed in 1972 when the line was re-signalled, and as Stansfield Hall station that served the northern end of Todmorden on the Burnley line had closed in 1944, there was no direct access from the town to Burnley. This meant that from then on, passengers wanting to go between Manchester and Burnley had to change at either Hebden Bridge or Blackburn. The curve has since been reinstated, however, with funding from the Regional Growth Fund initiative, with regular services beginning in 2015. So now we've had that little station history, let's have a look round and see what's here at Todmorden Station today. So Todmorden Station has 2 platforms. We've got a good old defibrillator here. So the old station building seems to have been turned into some form of art gallery. Got some artwork there over on the Leeds-bound platform. I can see there's a little rainbow flag in there next to the viaduct. We've got the good old British Railways cycling lion sign on the Leeds-bound platform. So following the way out sign, I think we can find the access between the platforms. Oh, so over here on platform 2, I'm getting a closer up view of that artwork that I spotted. Unfortunately, one thing I've noticed here at Todmorden is that there's no level access between the platforms, and there also seems to be no level access to platform 2 at all. Maybe this is something that can be remedied in the future though. For now, let's head back over to platform 1 and have a look at the station buildings. Also, just to mention, I know I mentioned about, maybe the trains are getting back to normal. No, there's still tons of cancellations here. So I'm wondering what that's going to mean for the rest of my day, to be perfectly honest. I think some plans may have to be rearranged. Out here we do have the car park. I do wonder if that used to be anything else. Very possibly. Indeed. The car park is on the site of some old sidings. Now inside the station building there is actually a taxi booking office in what would have been the ticket office. So that's Todmorden Station. Let's go and have a look round and compare some old photographs to what the area looks like today. As you can see, I am now back at Todmorden Station, ready to head off to Sowerby Bridge to have another little explore and maybe go and get a meal. After a bit of a delay, we have made it to Sowerby Bridge. The original station here at Sowerby Bridge was opened in 1840 by the Manchester and Leeds Railway. It was 662 yards away from the current site on the other side of the River Ryburn. The station became a junction station in 1852 when the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway, which the Manchester and Leeds Railway had been amalgamated into, opened a branch line from Milner Roy Junction to Halifax. This meant that trains could travelled to Bradford Exchange and then to Leeds via Stanningley by 1854. The new station was opened on the current site in 1876. There was a branch line to Ripponden and Rishworth, and this sadly closed in 1958, but it did have its very own platform to the southwest of the station, linked to the station by a footpath. Regular services on the Manchester and Leeds main line to Wakefield, Kirkgate and York were removed by British Rail by the 1970s. Regular services, direct services between Manchester and York were sadly a victim of the beaching acts. The service was reduced down to a DMU that started and terminated at Sowerby Bridge and connected up with Calder Valley trains via Bradford. The mainline route remained in use for freight, and a limited passenger service was reintroduced in 2000, with a regular service being in place from 2007. There was sadly a major fire here in 1978, meaning that British Rail removed most of the buildings by 1980. In 1981 there were new canopies put on the platforms, and also the remaining wing of the 1870s building was turned into a ticket office. Unfortunately, the ticket office then closed in 1983. There have also been some incidents here at Sowerby Bridge, but to get all the information correct, I'm going to pass over to narration Sarah for that. In 1903, an express passenger service hit a light engine at the station due to the error of a signalman. Consequently, another passenger train hit the wreckage whilst travelling at a low speed. Sadly, one person was killed. In 1963, a diesel train travelling between York and Liverpool caught fire when entering the tunnel to the west of Sowerby Bridge station. The 70 passengers on board had to leave the train and walk back to the station along the railway, passing by the last coach, which was on fire. Fortunately, there were no casualties. One interesting little thing about Sowerby Bridge, before the station was opened, the brother of the Bronte sisters, Bramwell Bronte, was engaged as the assistant clerk in charge here at the station, and he was paid £75 per year. We'll put what that is in today's money on the screen. He was then transferred to Luddenden Foot in 1841. That station actually closed in 1962. Let's now have a little look round and see what's here at Sowerby Bridge station today. As you can see, we've got those new canopies on the platforms here. I say new, 1980s. There are 2 platforms at Sowerby Bridge. These are staggered. There's a handy little sign here to remind you that it's 22 miles to Leeds. If you have a look here, it does seem that we've got the remains of an abandoned platform. The Friends of Sowerby Bridge station have put up a load of nice little information signs about things in the local area. Got the little shield of Sowerby Bridge, Art et Industria. I don't know what that means. I'm guessing art and industry. I have to say, I don't think you can read that on the dot matrix, but there's a very optimistic member of railway staff. The 10:23 to Leeds is still listed and is just marked as delayed. I somehow don't think that's coming. For context, it's currently 15:32. As you can see, access between the platforms is through an underpass or subway, whichever term you prefer. Just stepped into the car park and found this set of train-shaped planters called Mavis. I think that's great. Out in the little station garden there is also a list of the railwaymen of the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway who sacrificed their lives in the Great War. Oh, we have this old little wagon from the LMS days. And here is the remaining wing of the 1870s building, which is now a refreshment room. And it even has a little blue plaque about Bramwell Bronte. So now I've explored the history of the station, I'm now going to go and find the location of some of Jeff's photographs and see what they look like today. Let's go. So after that lovely trip to Todmorden and Sowerby Bridge, I am now back at Halifax. I am absolutely exhausted. Yorkshire is extremely hilly, and to my Norfolk dwelling legs, I'm still getting used to it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time for another railway adventure. Bye. As always, an extra special thank you to all of my patrons and channel members whose names are on screen now, as well as everybody who donates to me on Ko-fi. You all keep this channel going.